Gentleman yields. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Moore, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Begg, thank you for coming before the committee today. I have a slightly different series of questions than some of the folks who've spoken already. Back last September, Western North Carolina was significantly impacted by Hurricane Helene. Estimates are in our state alone roughly $80 billion in damage. Families and businesses lost everything. Because of where this happened, most folks didn't have any kind of flood insurance of any kind. Estimates are indicating that it could be around $15 billion needed for housing assistance and recovery alone, so just an absolutely immense amount. I can tell you that after the aftermath, I witnessed firsthand the resilience of the folks in my district and throughout Western North Carolina. Our state legislature that I was a member of last year stepped up and provided some amazing relief to get funds out there and resources out there to help deal with this catastrophe. And I got to say, folks in North Carolina stepped out in a significant way to help one another, and folks from outside the state, volunteers, you name it. One of the questions that kept coming up and where folks were scratching their head was, the federal response. And I have to say that the federal response prior to this year was very lacking, particularly as it pertains to HUD and on the housing side. A lot of folks were not being told exactly what to expect. They were getting, I guess, for lack of a better word, the runaround. They weren't even sure what resources were being made available. There were folks having their temporary housing potentially going to be cut off. I mean, just a lot of really bad things. I do have to say that after the new administration came in, a lot of that has significantly improved. Although it's not perfect, but it has improved. So we do appreciate that. But the Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program is going to be a critical part of our long-term recovery. One of the things, though, and I don't fully understand it, frankly, as a member of Congress, is the formula that HUD uses to determine the CDBG DR allocations. As far as I know, that may not even be public. And so I guess that sort of fuels a number of questions. One is, what vulnerabilities to fraud or abuse are created by the lack of transparency in this allocation process?
Well, with respect to the allocation process, I'm not sure that we've studied how it contributes to potential fraud, waste, and abuse. There are a number of things that do contribute to that in the disaster program, but we haven't examined the allocation as a contributor to that.
Well, would you believe that it's essential that the CDBG DR money is spent in helping these communities recover?
Absolutely.
And so in January of 2024, of course, this was before your time, the HUD OIG launched an audit to determine whether 4 community development block grant disaster recovery grantees had made improper payments. According to y'all's office, the grantees have budgeted more than $904 million and had spent almost $356 million on completed and underway match activities. Do you know, again, this is before your time, but I don't know if you had a chance to look, why did their spending raise red flags?
Well, I was the Deputy Inspector General when we launched the audit, so I'm familiar with it. And the match program allows grantees to use HUD funding to contribute their match portion with other federal programs. The concern that we have is that HUD doesn't require grantees to report to them or track how they use match funds. So in our examination, we've seen instances where if the match requirement is 90% FEMA, 10% on the grantee, there are instances frequently where we see 90% FEMA, 90% HUD. And so grantees aren't tracking it, they're not reporting it to HUD, HUD's not able to monitor it, the data system doesn't capture it. That's our concern, is that HUD funding is just being wasted above the amount that's been authorized.
So I guess then, what kinds of payments is your office looking to identify and remedy?
It would be those that are above the match cap. Those are technically improper payments in our view.
Okay. And are you share the status of that audit?
We are in the process of issuing a report in that audit. We believe it will be in the coming months. We issued an interim report when we identified the lack of tracking to flag that issue for HUD because we thought they needed to take action on it immediately, but we will be issuing another report on the review soon.
Thank you, sir. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.